Welcome to Forensic Friday,
where we examine the intersection of true crime, psychology, and the heart of being human in the middle of it all. Perfect. Well, hello. Hello,
Hi.
Forensic friends.
I just broke your mic.
Nat just literally annihilated our little lapel mic.
Annihilated feels dramatic.
It went flying.
That's literally not
You can
true.
find it for a second.
What are you talking about?
It went flying.
No, dude, I just dropped it.
Is the pin still in it?
No, that's what I dropped.
Oh, I see you drop something.
I didn't go flying. It's
Because
because it stuck to my hand when I was putting it down.
we're in the struggles today. We have doubles all day, which I love our groups, but it is a long day.
Dude, I don't know where that thing went.
That's fine. Whatever. We'll find it.
Just don't vacuum.
I'm going to go to Amazon and be like, listen, this should not. She's a tiny little woman. How'd she break it?
I think it was probably already. It's like when a tooth cracks. There's
You would know
already a
about that.
fracture. And then it's not about you chewing the thing. It's just about the pressure of swallowing. I learned this
That's going to be your...
because of all of my drama in the last month with my dental crap.
That's going to be your metaphor for the next 20 years when something
There was
finally
already a
breaks.
fracture.
If there's a fracture in a tooth, you know?
Well, did I tell you
It's not gonna
Arliss broke a
break.
tooth
No.
at Grace's birthday?
No.
Arliss broke her back tooth at Grace's birthday eating a cupcake, but she went to the dentist and the dentist said it's not because you ate the cupcake, it's because you swallowed, and the pressure from swallowing, there was already a fracture in the tooth, and that's what breaks teeth most of the time.
Well,
'Cause
don't
there's
send her to your
already-
dentist.
No, she went to a bougie dentist who put eye patches on her, headphones. Arliss, I was like, did she give you a mimosa? Like, what
That's
else
on her
did she
third
do?
dentist, so they're trying to kill her every time she goes
Every
in.
time I go in,
Every
they're
time.
like, this side's all
Oh,
up now. Sorry, Tina.
if there was an anti-ad, if there was like a...
But I
don't
have to,
go
I'm
this
stuck
place.
with them though, at
You're
least for a
not.
while. No, I am, because
I know.
if I don't see them and something
know.
happens to this crown,
Yeah.
I have to go in for teeth cleaning every 6 months in order to keep my
Warranty on your
warranty
crown?
on my crown.
I've never heard of that before.
Dude, I am telling you.
You're in a weird, like, I don't know, pyramid scheme of a dental practice. Like, I don't know what's happening.
Mm.
It's messed up.
Mhm.
Oh, can I have some Sour Patch Kids?
Oh my God.
They look yummy. We're going to get lunch in an hour, so this will
Not
hold me
those.
over. I got Sour Patch Besties. They're so cute. They're like little best friends.
Dearest listeners, I don't know what possessed your gracious host to spend the next 3 minutes yapping while audibly eating some of the stickiest, chewiest candy on the market, but I've spared you as much as I could while leaving this part of the episode coherent. Sorry.
Okay. We finally have like winter weather, sort of ish.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's been warm all winter.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of moody weather. I've had at least
I
one
know,
cup of coffee, too.
I wore my cowboy boots.
I wore my snow boots because we had snow at my house this morning.
Those are not snow boots.
I mean, these are my...
Those are like tennis shoes. Those are like walking shoes that are waterproof.
I mean, they work well. They keep the water out.
Oh, yeah, they're waterproof tennis shoes.
Well, they're not tennis shoes because they have boots.
Show me.
They go up to past my ankles. They're not boots, but they're like booties.
Those are hiking shoes.
No, whatever.
Okay.
They keep the cold out. We are going to do a real weird one today.
Okay.
We did a funny episode that we thought was going to be a full. Those 20 minutes. So you can enjoy that mini next week. I do have to say one funny thing, though.
What?
This morning, I got here and Nat comes walking over in my car, and I'm talking to my mom, Tina. And it's Tina's birthday today. Tina, happy birthday. We
Tina.
love you.
I wish
I'm
I knew
talking
that
to
when you were
Nat.
on the phone with her earlier.
Or no, I'm always on the phone with my mom in the morning. So I'm talking to her. Nat comes walking over. I'm like, oh, she's coming to say hi.
I
She
don't know
goes,
where my keys are.
do you have your keys? I don't know where my keys are.
I still don't know where my keys are.
So then I pick up my purse and I'm digging through my monstrosity of a purse. And it's honking the horn because I have my purse on my lap. And
There's a guy walking by.
I know.
He literally jumps. I wave on behalf of you.
And I'm just honking the horn
Mhm.
with my whole self, my person, my whole self.
Mhm.
Okay. We're going to call this episode The Blood Nephew.
Okay.
This is the case of Key Mossler and Mel Powers from 1964.
Okay.
So, a 69-year-old banking magnate is bludgeoned and stabbed 39 times in Key Biscayne in an apartment. Okay? In his apartment. His wife is at the ER getting migraine injections for the 4th time that week.
Oh my gosh.
Her 22-year-old nephew, with whom she's been carrying on a 2-year affair, is seen at a lounge 2 miles away ordering Coke bottles he doesn't drink from. 60 years later, the case is still a masterclass on how dyadic offenders pre-build alibis, why juries acquit guilty defendants, and what happens when a defense attorney decides to put the victim on trial instead of the accused. So imagine 4:30 in the morning, Candy,
Mhm.
returned to the apartment with 4 children in tow to find Jacques wrapped in a blanket on the floor. Okay?
Picturing.
Picture, okay? Then jump to when she's at the airport and reporters confront her with allegations of adultery, incest, and murder. To which she replied, "Well, nobody's perfect."
Wow. Wow.
Buckle up, y'all.
That's what I used to say when I was a teenager.
Candy's a
I can't be
treat.
perfect, Mom.
Oh, candy. Okay. So let's talk about the relationships for a minute. Jacques Mossler was 69 when he died, Romanian immigrant, banking and consumer credit pioneer, and had a fortune estimated at $30 million, which would be like $300 million today.
Mm-hmm.
He was twice married with 4 daughters from his first marriage and 4 adopted children with Candy.
Mm-hmm.
Candy Weatherby Mossler was 44 at the time of the murder. She was a Georgia farm girl turned New Orleans modeling school operator turned Houston socialite.
Wow.
Per the historical record, she sometimes worked as an escort and may have also hosted dance classes for young soldiers. And that was air quotes, dance classes for young soldiers that involved far more than dancing before meeting. Jacques, through the New Orleans opera fundraising circuit, right, met Candy and was kind of immediately sort of intrigued. Okay. When you look at her kind of like sexuality and charm, it's a little bit interesting because Jacques may have been a bit on the prowl, but Candy was like all too happy to be found. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Mel Powers, 22 at the time of the murder. He's Candy's nephew, her sister Elizabeth's son. This is a blood nephew, hence the title of this case, okay? When people tell this story, they typically soften that a little bit, like nephew by marriage or, but no, this is a blood nephew. This is her sister's son. He had sold magazine subscriptions door to door in the Southeast after high school, then moved to Pontiac, Michigan, where he fell in with a group of men involved in a swindle racket. He was jailed for 90 days and still on probation when he showed up at Aunt Kathy's. Already a documented antisocial trajectory there, right? Before he even moved in with Candy. He was like messing around. Within 2 years of Mel arriving in the household, Candy and Mel were exchanging love letters, meeting at the family ranch and the Galveston beach house.
Okay.
When Jacques discovered the affair around 1963, he fired Mel and relocated to Florida, but did not divorce her. Can you imagine finding out your wife is having an affair with her nephew and not divorcing? That's insane.
No, that's nuts.
Uh-huh.
That's nuts.
Now, he did consider suing Mel and divorcing his wife, but after talking to a lawyer, they decided against doing it because it would be so negative publicly, right? It'd be
Oh.
bad publicity,
Yeah,
and he would lose half of his fortune to his wife,
that's true.
right?
I follow this divorce attorney
Yeah.
because he's super funny and he talks about people in marriages and like what not to do to
Yeah.
like what not to do in order to avoid divorce.
Yeah.
So he's like advocating for people to be healthier, which is kind of cool, but he's funny
Love
and
that.
he's like super crass. Anyway,
Yeah.
he said something like this where he's like, don't do something stupid because if you get divorced, your wife is going to take the kids and half your money.
Well,
I mean,
think,
but he's not in this case, it's different.
No, but I do think that, like, okay, in your average situation, many times,
Mm-hmm.
if a couple can fix their marriage, it is so much better for everyone.
Way better.
It wrecks you financially.
Yeah.
It's so hard on the family. It's
Yeah.
hard on the kids.
Yeah.
But that's in a relationship where both people want to work on it.
And can.
And
And are,
if
like,
it's super
capable.
toxic and abusive and the kids are in conflict and turmoil all the
Yeah.
time, it's probably not better. But financially, it's really hard
Yeah.
for people to come back from divorce. So I
Yeah.
can understand. Now, if we're talking about, hundreds of millions of dollars, equivalent today,
Mm-hmm.
both of them would have been fine,
Mm-hmm.
right? The PR element I can understand. Like,
Yeah.
you're married. First of all, she's like 20 years his junior. And then she's having an affair with her own blood nephew who's 20 years
That's
her
so
junior.
gross.
It's disgusting, right? I mean, that's not okay.
blood nephew.
Blood nephew.
So it's
Mhm.
her sister or her
sister's son.
That's crazy.
No, I know. It's awful.
That's so.
It's so crazy.
also
and I
like
have theories.
child abuse. All of
I mean,
it.
it's incest. It's all
Yes.
kinds of
Oh
things.
my God.
Yeah, which is illegal.
Yes.
Now, it started when he was 22, but still, ew. And that it's illegal. Incest is illegal. So he decides not to divorce them. But in deciding them, he decides not to divorce Candy.
Mm-hmm.
In doing that, though, now we have Candy and Mel wanting to be together, but there's somebody in between them
no.
really being able to be together. I mean, besides the incest, and millions of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So this is kind of the textbook setup for a homicide,
Mm-hmm.
right? We've got a financial motivation, and then we also have this kind of jealousy, weird love triangle thing
Mm-hmm.
happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I mentioned that she kept going to get migraine medicine,
Mm-hmm.
right? This wasn't a crime of passion that happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
The hospital trips were part of the crime.
Mm-hmm.
So she went to the hospital 4 times to be treated for what she described as nagging migraine headaches in the days preceding the murder. She always brought the children. With the pattern, she was normalizing 1 a.m. hospital visits as routine before the night of the murder.
Mm.
So here she is, like, every night we're going to the ER because of these migraines. She was trying to show a pattern that she could say was established before he was killed,
Mhm.
before Jacques was killed. By June 29th, 4 ER staff and 4 children can corroborate that mom takes us to the ER at midnight. It's a thing that happens regularly, right? This is an alibi by habituation.
Mm.
And it's a pattern that matters,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because this actually isn't that uncommon. Like, I dug into this a tiny bit, and this is a thing people will do.
Mm-hmm.
And when you watch, like, Dateline, sometimes they'll have this shift in behavior, but it goes on for long enough that the person kind of, it seems weird at first, and then they sort of accept it because
Mhm.
life's weird and nothing bad has happened yet,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So the night of the murder, Mel was spotted at the Stuffed Shirt Lounge, a bar on the Miami side of the Rickenbacker Causeway, leading to Key Biscayne. According to witness testimony, he ordered a scotch and asked for a large, empty glass Coke bottle. He left the bottle behind. 2 hours later, he returned to the same place, ordered a double scotch, and asked for another Coke bottle. About 1 a.m., Candace loads the kids into her red Pontiac convertible, stops to mail letters, stops for hamburgers, and drives to the hospital.
At 1 a.m.
At 1 a.m. Now, you've had bad headaches the last, 6 months or so. You've had real bad headaches. I've had a couple migraines, and I can get them sometimes. Are you in the mood to put 4 kids in a car, mail some letters, get some hamburgers, and then go to the hospital? No. It's like nails on a chalkboard when you have a real migraine, right? Her taking the kids and doing those things created the window for the murder. Neighbors hear the Mossler dog barking and a man's voice crying, don't do that to me. A dark-haired man in dark clothing is seen fleeing the home. 4:30 a.m., Candace returns with the children to, quote, discover the body.
Oh, boy.
Yes. So, here's how he was murdered. You ready?
Yep.
Ugh. So, the Coke bottle that I mentioned earlier was an improvised weapon.
Okay.
Jacques was clubbed in the head at least twice, probably with an oversized soda bottle, and a sculptured glass swan found in the apartment. Okay. My God, if I ever get murdered by a glass swan...
That'll just be a bad way.
I mean, everything about that offends me. It's pretentious. It's stupid. I mean, I guess it was his glass swan.
Yeah.
But to me, I'm like...
It was what was available at the time.
No, 100%. But can you imagine you just see a glass swan? It's one of the last things you see. Like, that's obnoxious.
Yeah, it sucks.
Mel used the bottle to bash. Then the glass swan as a secondary weapon. And stabbed him 39 times.
Wow. Big mad.
So, bottle to swan to knife. So he was escalating during the murder. So this was in no way like a clean execution, and he was likely drinking to get the courage together to kill this guy. This is not like a seasoned killer. So 39 stab wounds, we would consider that, of course, overkill.
Yeah.
That wasn't necessary.
No.
Right? So this is where this dynamic gets interesting. So initially, what might have been more Candy's motive to get the money and to, be able to be with Mel. Well, Mel had the personal humiliation of being fired, escorted off the property, threatened with prosecution. So when Jacques found out about the affair, he really went after Mel.
Right.
Right? It's not that he didn't go after his wife, but he knew that he didn't want to split his fortune with her. He didn't want to get divorced.
Right.
And she also could have divorced him. So it seems to me he played nice with her a bit, but with Mel, he was like, get out, man.
Yeah.
So the overkill really can be attributed to Mel, not Candy. She just wanted him dead. Mel wanted Jacques dead and humiliated. Right? Then in the physical evidence, they found Mel's palm print in the apartment, his fingerprints in the abandoned white Chevrolet, which was a loaner that had been checked out to Candace, and there were bloodstains on the clothes he wore in Miami, that he was wearing that night in Miami, and witnesses obviously could put him with the Coke bottles, and then the neighbors were able to match his description. So this feels like open and shut. Wouldn't you say? Also, that's a really tough story to tell the jury. Like, yeah, she was with her nephew. Do you know what I mean? Like,
gross.
You're going to have a hard time. And I
Right.
know the
100%.
jury's supposed to just look at facts and everything else, but you're already like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like that's a hell of a start, I'm just like, as neutral as we have to be. I mean, that would land some type of way, It's like incest right off the top.
Yeah,
Next.
no one is a 100% neutral. Ever.
No. So the issue when we got into the trial, right? is who they ended up kind of analyzing.
Mm.
Because how do you figure out who's more responsible? Are they equally responsible? And what's the deal with Jacques, right? They had to pick this whole thing apart, and it got super messy, way more messy than you would expect.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the defense attorney, his strategy was to study the jury and kind of figure out his way in, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he argued that the murder victim was a rascal who should have been killed. He painted, which again, that's a move. You know,
Right.
he painted Jacques as a ruthless financier, hated by thousands, and a sexual deviant. I'm like, wait a minute. So we're going to talk about him being a deviant, but she's with her nephew. Anyway, that was a choice that he made.
Yep.
Who slept with an axe at his bedside to protect him from his enemies. And they floated alternative motives, disgruntled employees, victims of repossessions. So Mossler, his company would repo cars and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then also independent automobile dealers who said they blamed Mossler for their financial ruin.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, we've talked about Darvo a bit
Yeah.
in recent episodes, right? This is really interesting because it's like Darvo in a court case. Because they're
Right.
taking this person who's bludgeoned to death and stabbed to death, and they're like, well, he's kind of a bad dude. So, like,
Yeah.
right?
Like, oh, well.
Yes.
Which is not good.
And this tactic was used over and over again in this case, particularly during the 6.5-hour closing argument.
Dang.
Mm-hmm. Now, another thing that happened was they called no witnesses for Powers. So the defense attorney limited the state's opportunities to cross-examine, while he himself went on to tear down the state's witnesses. So because they didn't have any witnesses, it left all of this time and effort mainly trying to discredit the state, the prosecution's witnesses.
Right.
Under Florida procedure at that time, Foreman's no witness tactic also entitled him to the opening and closing arguments. So because he didn't have witnesses, he was able to both open and close the case, which is really powerful. Even like when we do the mini mental status exam, you have the order effect where you tend to remember things in the beginning and the end
Mm-hmm.
of a list or an experience.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happened here. So the defense got to address the jury kind of first and last. Like they
Right.
bookended the whole thing.
Right.
So because the prosecutor relied so heavily on jailhouse informants and ex-cons who claimed that Mel had solicited them as hitmen,
Mm-hmm.
Foreman was able to take them right down. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So prosecution's like, this dude said he's bad. This dude said he's bad. This dude
Right.
says he's bad. And then the defense goes, but they're all bad.
Right.
And then it's like, I mean, it was that simple.
Yeah.
Isn't that nuts, though?
We'll be right back.
This episode is brought to you by Southeast Counseling Center. Southeast Counseling Center is a 501c3 nonprofit mental health provider right here in Parker, Colorado, conveniently located just off major highways. We serve the whole family, from play therapy for kids to couples and family therapy, trauma treatment, psychological testing, and specialized groups. Access matters. That's why Southeast Counseling Center accepts Medicaid, TriWest, and victim compensation, and also offers a community subsidy program to help people who fall in the gap between Medicaid and traditional insurance coverage. And because we're a nonprofit, every dollar donated by the community goes directly towards providing treatment services for people who need help. Prefer to meet at home? Telehealth is available statewide, so anyone in Colorado can access our services. To get started, call 720-842-5553 or fill out our secure web inquiry form at secounseling.org. Southeast Counseling Center, care that is accessible, compassionate, and rooted in the community. I was watching a Dateline the other day, and this guy potentially got away with murder because there was not enough credible evidence. Like Bennett, or what is it?
Reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
Beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yes. So the jury basically was like, we can all agree that he's a dirtbag.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that he did this thing. And there's not enough evidence to prove that he did. That's what this feels like a little bit. Like they're like, he sucks, but also they all suck.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, I don't know if they went this route, but when you really think about it, he was also highly manipulated in whatever this family structure is. Right? Because when I'm thinking about Candy, something was messed up with Candy. I don't know what was up with the sister. I'm sure all of that had an impact on Mel.
Right.
And then you throw money in there and his antisocial tendencies, and we've got a real problem, right?
Right.
So then we have the Candy factor. Oh, Miss Candy. Marion Rosen, who was Candy's attorney, understood something about her client that's worth talking about. Candy was a trained performer. Modeling school, finishing school, escort, opera fundraising. Her entire adult life was performance of feminine charm for resource extraction. Right? Candace was well-spoken. And what the jury saw was a small, soft voice, well-dressed mother of adoptive children who fainted in court and had to be told to sit up. She just can't lie across two chairs. She was trying to lay down during her testimony. I know I can't.
Okay.
But it worked.
Oh my gosh. Because
it activated some protective instincts in the jury that overrode the evidence. And also this was in the 60s, which is different than now. Right now you get on TikTok, people are talking about personality disorders and drama and histrionics and all the things. That wasn't true then. So, on March 6th, 1966, after 16 hours and 33 minutes, almost 4 days of deliberations, the jury reached a verdict not guilty. Police officers in the district attorney's office declined to continue the search for his murderer afterwards, as they maintained that their initial conclusion that Mossler and the lover had committed the crime, so Candy and Mossler. No one else was ever charged. Because the police basically were like, we have our people.
Dang.
They just didn't get convicted.
Wow.
So, I have like 2 or 3 questions for you.
Okay.
First one, who was managing who? So, when we talk about the dyads, right? Remember, Folie à Deux? Folie à Deux?
I don't know. What
Garrett taught me back in the day. But they fit in that structure. Typically, when we have that, it's asymmetric, though. Somebody's kind of driving.
Well, so I would guess she's driving because she's the aunt and older. How much older is she than him?
Almost 20 years.
20 years?
She was 44 and he was 22.
Yeah. So
20 years.
Age-wise, literally role in the family system, which is just gross. I would guess she was more in charge.
Yes, I think so too. I think she was more in charge. Now, this is really uncommon, though.
Did her sister think anything of this? Like, was she like, why the hell are you sleeping with your nephew and also my son?
You know, I don't know.
Also, I would like kill her.
Oh,
I'm
no,
sorry.
I know.
I should not say that on the pod, but here we are.
Here we are.
Sorry, Tina.
You just incriminated yourself. I
didn't.
This is for entertainment purposes only.
I have not killed anybody.
No, not yet.
Nor would anyone ever get that close to my daughter.
No, that's true. That's also true. Just
saying.
No, first of all, This would be like, I don't have an equivalent in my family. Well, it would be like if my sister-in-law went after Mac.
Well, or because they're not blood, but yes.
Oh, right. It'd be like if I had a sister.
Yes,
I went after
exactly.
Mac. Which is absolutely nuts.
No, that's what I'm saying.
No,
That's crazy.
It's absolutely crazy.
Because I thought at first it was what you just described, which is like technically not blood, but also very weird.
Like by marriage. Still,
yes, like in the family by marriage. And you see some of that sometimes, which is sketch and whatever.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not technically incest, but this is technically incest.
This is, yes, incest. Incest with a giant age gap.
Yeah, no, it's all weird.
It's just so weird.
It's all weird.
So I agree with you. I think she was the leader. This is so underrepresented in literature. It's not even funny because we don't even study female offenders, let alone older women, primary planners. I mean, this is unheard of. Mother of 4 adopted kids. I mean, it's just wild. But one of the things that I do want to say is that he was fairly antisocial in his own ways.
The nephew?
The Mel.
Yeah.
So Mel was 19 when the affair started, and she was 38.
That is so gross.
She became his sole source of housing, employment, and financial support.
So she was in charge.
So the conventional read is really that she
groomed him.
She groomed him. She's the femme fatale. And really that she would appear as the dominant one, especially if the genders were reversed. Right? But there's one interesting piece to this. Candy's post-acquittal trajectory is very interesting, as is Mel's.
Okay.
She remarried after drifting from Mel, immediately tried to monetize her notoriety through the Judy Garland record label venture.
Oh my gosh.
So she tried to do something there and then died of an accidental overdose of migraine medicine in a Miami Beach, Florida hotel room in 1976.
We'll be right back.
If you work with court-ordered clients, you already know the system can be overwhelming. Documentation, coordination, compliance tracking, billing, on top of actually doing the therapy. That's why we want to tell you about Reliatrax, a one-stop platform built specifically for therapists working in the court-ordered space and voluntary treatment. Reliatrax helps you stay connected with probation and referral sources so everyone's on the same page and your clients get the best care possible without the endless emails, calls, and paperwork. And here's the exciting part. Reliatrax now offers Aura, their new AI assistant. Aura helps streamline documentation, keeps you organized, and supports your workflow so you can spend less time clicking boxes and more time doing clinical work. Reliatrax also supports insurance billing, including Medicaid, making it easier to serve both court-ordered and voluntary clients all in one system. No juggling platforms and no workarounds. And the other amazing thing is you have an actual team of people who can support you, not some automated system. If you're looking for a smarter, more efficient way to manage compliance, communication, and care, Reliatrax was built for this. Check out Reliatrax and see how it can support you, your clients, and the systems you work in without burning you out. You can go to www.reliatrax.com to get started. So it's interesting to think about, are we dealing with a psychopath?
So do you think you're saying he may have killed her?
Well, I think we know that Mel killed him. Like, allegedly. Okay, he was never convicted.
But yes,
sorry.
Yeah.
I don't even know if he's still alive, but you were not convicted, sir. So allegedly, for entertainment purposes only. And we are not diagnosing anyone. But when you think about it, yes, she appeared dominant, but he also was on a pretty antisocial track, which also made him vulnerable. When we talk about psychopathy, themes of psychopathy, The nobody's perfect line stands out to me. Candy said, nobody's perfect when reporters approached her at an airport.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
That lines up with high trait factor 1 features, like so cold.
Yeah.
So cold, calculated, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the reason this case still matters, and the reason I brought it to you, is because it happened 30 years before OJ.
Okay.
And it set the template a little bit for like having a celebrity defense team, shifting blame to the victim on trial, you know, media saturation, getting bombarded with reporters, jury seduction, like getting in there with the jury and seeing, you know, which, you know, that was Dr. Phil's, how he met Oprah, right? He was helping with jury selection in a lawsuit that Oprah was in the middle of.
Oh, wow.
Did you know that?
No.
That's how they met.
That's crazy.
Jury selection's like a whole thing. I know you'd love to be on a jury and
I
tried
almost got
very
selected.
hard. I know. And I'm always trying to get out.
I know. That's everyone. And
I know.
well, here's the thing. It's not like I want to be on jury duty, but if I'm going to take a whole day
I know.
because they call my number.
But you would get called for a 6-month case. There's no question.
But that means it's juicy.
It would be juicy, but also
I would learn a lot.
And make $0.
You're not
That's
wrong.
not true. They pay what, $20 a day?
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. I would make nothing.
I'd be like, y'all better buy me lunch or something. Come on, you know. But I don't try to get out actively like lying, but I'm always like, I have lots going on. You know, like I'm always kind of.
I mean, here's
sympathetic.
the thing. You and I go in and we say our job, they're not going to select us.
Never. Because they can't predict us. Neither side would feel comfortable with us. That's the truth. And they're not wrong because we would take it as it comes. I don't think we'd be predictable jurors at all.
No.
Because we're going to have 1 million thoughts going through our head like we do on the podcast.
100%. And as therapists in the forensic world.
Yes. So anyway, it's still one of the biggest cases ever, particularly in South Florida. And there have been a lot of things that have happened. You know, Florida, we had a whole presentation at retreat about like
I was like crawling out of my skin.
How to survive Florida. And Nat has a trip coming up to Florida in August, and she was like,
I'm not going.
What was it? It was like mosquitoes.
Well, it was
alligators.
like at first it was like the riptide, and I'm like, cool, I'm not getting in the water.
Yep.
Then it's like mosquitoes, and then like this is the main way people die every year. And then it was alligators and how fast they can snatch you. And I'm like, I have a child. And then it was what else?
I don't remember.
The heat. And the frizz in your hair.
The frizz in your hair. That sent me every slide. I'm like, this is killing Natalie. And then it was like one of the last ones was, and then the hair. And I'm like, oh no.
She's done.
She's done. She's not going. Is it too late to change the plans?
No.
And then what was the PowerPoint that was right after that also felt like a personal attack? I forget what it was. There was a PowerPoint somebody did that was hilarious, but you were like, my God. It was something else you were stressed about.
Was it Kara's?
Was it?
I mean, that was amazing.
Hilarious. No, Kara did what was it?
The egg.
It was the Twilight connection to 9/11, but it was like Eggward connection to 9/11.
Yes.
Which really is a conspiracy theory I did not see coming.
No, I was floored.
Yeah, you loved that. That was great.
I did. That one was hilarious. Anyway, continue.
Yes. So anyway, this is just a wild case. It's not a particularly rich deep dive psychologically, with the exception of possibly some psychopathic traits, and then also having
the incest piece is very
uncommon,
and
especially to this degree.
Yeah, uncommon, and also like we could dive into that, the psychology of that, but also like.
Yes.
I can't be unbiased enough to just sit here and say like that's not weird, because it's very weird.
Well, no, it's very weird. And particularly at these ages, there's sexual abuse, and this is a form of sexual abuse.
Yes.
Right. But this is not a child, and it didn't start when he was a full-blown child.
Correct.
Now 19.
No, actually, that's what I was going to say. So this is the psychology part on my end.
Yeah.
I actually think it probably started before he was 19. But it became more apparent after he became a quote unquote legal adult.
Yes.
So I bet you there was grooming and all this stuff. There was some movie that came out when I was working in Washington, and I cannot remember the name of it, but it was a kind of like an indie movie where it was a grown man. It was like the story of this guy, and it was like the death of his aunt, and he was so close to his aunt. Someone's going to comment on this and be like, it was this movie, because someone's going to know what I'm talking about.
I love when they scratch that itch.
And they, and then it goes back to the beginning of his life at the very end, because you like are following this story with him and you're like so sad on his behalf. But then at the very end, it shows that she was abusing him.
Yeah.
But the dissociation was so strong that he didn't really remember all of that. And so he didn't associate the abuse that his aunt was doing and the grooming to his relationship with her later on in life.
Yes.
He like separated it in his brain until the very end, and then it all came full circle, and you're like, damn, that's so fucked up.
Oh yeah, no, that's
sorry,
wild.
Tina.
Sorry, Tina. You know what's funny? She said the other day, she goes, "You guys haven't cursed in a while," almost like she missed it. So sorry,
there
not sorry,
go.
Tina. There you go. A little bit of spice with your episode. No, I think you're so right, Nat. I think that the grooming piece likely was there before. And it's also just, even when they were screening for the jury, they would only let people over the age of 21 be on the jury because the press treated the incest allegation as separate from the murder allegation because it's its own scandal. So like, partially for the same reason that you and I were like, that's a tough first sentence for a jury. You know what I mean? Like, that's a hard thing to overcome if you're looking at murder, because what was on trial was not the incest, it was the murder.
Correct.
Right? But
correct.
Untangling that's pretty difficult.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. No, it was a wild case. I appreciate you finding it so fast.
I know, right? Well, we can't do a 20-minute Friday episode. We had to have something with a little more meat.
This one's a good one.
Guys.
No, this one's a really good one. Good find.
This is one. And I think everybody involved is fairly problematic. And
100%.
So, it's an interesting one.
It is.
So we will see y'all next week. And as always,
bye, forensic friends.
I'm Janine.
And I'm Nat.
And as always, thanks for listening, and join us next week for more crime, psychology, and heart.